Yo, Saturday, August 5th. Gene and Ashley are back with a Twilight Zone review. This is a season 4 episode. We haven't done too many of those.
No.
On Thursday, we leave for home. And I actually think it's pretty good, but here's Ashley with the episode info.
Originally aired 5/2/63, written by Rod Serling, producer Burt Granite, director Buzz Kulick. Cast William Benteen, James Whitmore, Colonel Sloan, Tim O'Connor, Al, James Broderick, George, Paul Langston, Julie, Joe Helton, Joan, Mercedes Shirley, and JoJo is Daniel Kulick.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the cast members from other episodes.
I really don't either.
But a couple of the actors look familiar. I feel like this one guy was in Planet of the Apes.
He was in something. The Captain Benteen looks so familiar.
Yeah, the main guy that you see in the cover of the background that has all the notes and air date and all that stuff.
And also Colonel Sloan.
I swear, I think he's from like Planet of the Apes or something like that. And even the guy he's talking to when you see the mic. Well, not him. I'm talking about somebody else.
Oh.
It's weird, but I swear I can't think of what it's from. But I think it's Planet of the Apes.
We'll look it up later.
I think he's not a main character, but anyway. Well, you're supposed to look it up for the review.
Well, you can add it on into like the notes of the review.
I mean, I read everywhere in the book. I didn't see much noted.
We'll look it up after, and you can add it in your typings.
Okay. Yeah, we usually only mention if they're from other Twilight Zones, but this is bugging me. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So we've been starting off with the rating. I actually think this is an almost perfect episode, which for season 4, you're not going to hear me say often. Again, I know certain people don't listen to every single one of these, so I'll keep it short. Season 4, the show was canceled after season 3. And then CBS canceled a 1-hour show, and they were like, oh, crap, we need something to fill that spot. Hey, Rod Serling, we'll bring the Twilight Zone back, but it's got to be 1-hour episodes. We'll bring it back in January. They'll be 18 instead of 30-something. But we need hour episodes. And it's just, reading from the book here, you can just see when they interview some of the people involved, most of them thought it just was not, it just did not work for the Twilight Zone.
It's not conducive to the format.
Yeah, I think a couple of the episodes, it actually worked out really, really well. But here's Rod Serling's quote. Ours is the perfect half-hour show. If we went to an hour, we'd have to flesh out our stories soap opera style. Viewers could watch 15 minutes without knowing whether they were in a Twilight Zone or a, what playhouse?
Desilu Play.
I guess that was a show back then, but, might as well... You can replace it with, The Bold and the Beautiful. No, that's the only half-hour soap opera.
That's Lucy
The Young and the Restless.
That's
what?
Lucy and Ricky. Desilu.
What is that? It was a soap opera?
No, that's their production company.
Oh, well, I think he was trying to be a little dramatic.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, look, we actually watched 2 today. We're going to release one in a couple days because, we like to just watch, do these mini marathons. We did miniature. And just to give a little sneak peek, it needed to be a half hour.
Yeah.
There was so much filler. And the bummer is, it might be the greatest acting I've ever seen in a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
By Robert Duvall,
yeah.
who 8 years later was in The Godfather. 9 years later. It might be the best acting I've ever seen in a Twilight Zone. But the overall episode, it just didn't live up to what he brought to it.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot. But anyway, sticking to this episode, my score is a 9, but I have to take off a half a point for a mistake. Ashley's making a face. I don't know why. Interrupt me. What?
I'm going to give the same score as you, and I didn't even know.
Well, we never know. I think we talked about it once by mistake. Really? 8.5?
Yes. That's crazy.
Well, I would want to give it a 9. And maybe I'm being slightly generous, but I actually think there's not filler. I think this is like a Twilight Zone that just happens to be an hour long. There's enough story where there's no filler.
Agree.
And, I didn't want, whenever I give the preview clips below, it's always like the first 15 minutes. This one, probably the first 20 minutes because it's, 40 something minutes long without commercials. Because I don't want to, give away spoilers. But this episode just was so interesting. It had science fiction special effects when they had the meteor shower and stuff. It was like a science. You know how there's these science fiction-y episodes that don't really have a lesson, but they're really fun. Maybe like Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? Or one of the alien ones. But this also had a deep lesson. It was perfect. I think it was a perfect episode. And I was going to leave the 9 because the mistake was a production mistake that was not caught amazingly. But then I'm like, well, you know what? I give the ones in video a point off.
Yeah.
And that's not the actors or the story's fault.
Yeah.
So I'm knocking off a half point because what's the name of the mic? A ground mic?
No, it's a boom.
A boom?
Yeah.
There's a boom mic you see come up for a whole bottom third of the screen. Like the microphone they use to record the actors. They didn't catch that they literally have a microphone in it for a minute, like a full minute scene.
Like it doesn't just go in and out.
It's like up, down. It comes back, says hello, and goes back.
Yeah.
So what I did was I actually labeled where each clip starts in the preview. There's 4 clips because it's an hour episode. I put in the clip that has the boom mic, just a minute of it. It starts at, I believe, 1:55 to... I put timestamps, so you'll see it. But it's the second clip. And look at the bottom right of the screen, the bottom center, bottom right of the screen. You will see a mic come up. And, I'm taking off a half point, but look, that's 1 minute out of a 48-minute episode, 46-minute episode. And the episode was great. And an 8.5 is a really good score. And I guess me and Ashley are giving it the same score.
Yep.
Cool. Why don't you tell them a little about the episode?
So basically the episode...
Don't give away spoilers yet.
Okay. Is about a colony of people who go into another planet. And they've been there for 30 years. The colony has been there for 30 years, and the planet is miserable. There's no nighttime because there's 2 suns. It's hot. It's hard to grow food. They have to live in underground caves to try to keep cool. It's just miserable. But there's I think there's 130 something of them. And there is one man
187.
Excuse me,
113 showed up, but they've had kids and stuff.
That's
over
right.
30 years.
Okay, 187. Good job. And there is one man who has taken it upon himself to be the leader.
And he's kept them all alive.
He has kept them all alive. He's done a good job of being their leader. And his name is Captain Benteen, or he goes by Captain Benteen. They soon learn that they're going to be rescued by somebody from Earth. And so they're preparing for that. But in the meantime, they still...
Nobody believes help's coming.
Right. Nope. Everybody kind of has lost hope, is very desperate. A woman...
Hangs
herself. There is a meteor shower and people get injured.
And literally, people don't want to... they have somebody watch the signal all day and there's been no response. They all think the ship's not coming.
Right.
Because they didn't hear any other messages. And they think this guy that's been their leader, who's taken it upon himself to make schedules and tell them when night is, because there's 2 suns and it's never night. It's a planet. As soon as they got there, they realized they can't plant anything. It's literally a desert planet with no clouds. And, they immediately wish they hadn't gone. So he'll tell them stories about Earth, him and some of the... Even though there's other older people who got there when they were teenagers and stuff, he's the only one that's keeping the morale alive. I think they all would have drank Kool-Aid and left. I think they all would have died if it wasn't for this guy keeping being their leader, being keeping hope. Yeah. He has them chant, "The ship is coming, the ship," and it's really dramatic and interesting. It's done well. So when it takes a twist, getting to spoiler alert. I'm getting to spoiler alert. They've lost all hope. They're in the cave. He's telling little Jojo about Earth, and it sounds a little corny, but it's not. It's done perfectly. You literally start hearing the sound of a ship coming when he's saying, we can't wait another hour, another minute. And they come out of the cave and you see a ship land. And that's when things start to turn. And the people start to lose interest in Captain Benteen. And look, this guy put himself in this position where it probably wasn't fun being the leader and being the boss.
No.
But I think after 25, 30 years of it, he really gets heartbroken when all of a sudden they're asking the ship crew questions when they're supposed to be having a meeting about what he wants, them to have a meeting about. And they start losing respect. Not that they treat him badly, but they don't treat him like he's their leader, and it messes him up. And look, I feel for the guy. I think maybe some people might watch this episode and be like, oh, he turns, he's a megalomaniac. I don't have that opinion at all. I think psychologically he had to get to that place to keep these people alive. And, should we go all the way?
Yeah.
All right. This is a great episode. I'm strongly suggesting you pause this, watch it, and come back after you watch it.
Wait, pause before you say that. I just wanted to add that he is so entrenched in this group of people, and so like the shepherd looking over his flock, he basically says they're all children and they cannot make decisions on their own. He is responsible for their well-being. So he also thinks,
tells the crew when they arrive.
Correct. He tells the captain of the ship that. So he believes wholeheartedly that they are all going to also want to live in this community together when they go back to Earth. There is no doubt in his mind that they will want to continue their community is the only thing I can think of, their community when they get back there, and that nobody is going to have any want or need or desire to move on with their life.
So I looked up the main actor, James Whitmore.
Yeah.
He was born in White Plains, New York.
No way.
I lived there for a while. How do you look up what he was in?
Go down. Credits.
Fun with Dick and Jane. Wow, he must have been an old man. CSI. The Majestic. Wait, he's not the guy in Batman?
What guy in Batman?
All the Christopher Nolan movies, is he?
I don't know.
No, he doesn't look like that guy. He'd be older, I think. The Shawshank Redemption. He's the old man.
Oh, he's Brooks.
That's why he looked familiar.
That's it. That's it.
That's what I was picturing.
Brooks. Yep.
So this was 1963. The Shawshank Redemption was 1994. So it was 29 years later.
Wow.
It was filmed 29 years later. I knew it. Yeah. I knew he was from something. I'm like, he's from something we've seen.
What a good movie that is.
That guy's a good actor.
Yeah, he's great.
That's so wild.
If you don't know who Brooks is, he's the guy that keeps the little
He's the old man. He's the old man in the jail.
That keeps the bird in his pocket and feeds him.
I mean, if you haven't seen that, we can't help you.
Yeah.
That's obviously what we know him from.
That's it. Do the spoiler.
The Practice, Here's to Life, The Majestic, Fun with Dick and Jane, CSI. So he did a lot of acting in his older years. He was in Moses in 1986. I'm just looking for any other big movies, but that's clearly
that's it.
Because we both said, we know this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, am I giving the...
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so spoiler alert. So now he starts to really kind of lose it. And he gets really mad at the captain of the crew. He says, look, these people have been my responsibility. I'm not telling you how to run your ship. Once we're on the ship, I'll shut my mouth. But until then, I'm in charge of these people and their well-being, and I'd respect it if you left things alone. So he ends up basically losing it. And once he finds out that all the people don't want to live in the same compound when they're back on Earth, he says, we can't leave. I forgot that Earth is such a chaotic, war-filled, hate-filled place. We must stay. And obviously the people don't stay. The one flaw besides the technical issue with the microphone being visible on the screen, I would say They go look for him before they're supposed to take off, like 10 minutes before. And clearly the guy is having a mental break.
Yeah.
But I feel like the episode kind of treats it like he's this megalomaniac. And it's almost justice that he gets stuck there.
Yeah.
He doesn't leave with them. He's there alone. Obviously, he probably ends his life shortly after.
He chooses that.
He chooses it, but he clearly was having a mental break.
Yes.
And the only reason he was is because he forced himself in this position, which saved all their lives. It's very clear from the beginning. If he didn't organize it and be the leader, these people would have all hung themselves.
Yeah.
It's literally obvious. Most of them would have anyway.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a little weak that like a couple of the members of the colony go looking for him 10 minutes before they need to take off.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, okay, bye-bye. He's hiding in a cave. They don't know where he is, but they're speaking out loud and they assume he can hear them. And I thought that was the one weak part of the story. Like, how are you not going there hours before crying and pleading for him to come out?
Right.
And then once the ship takes off, he starts talking to himself, pretending he's talking to little Jojo and some of the other people. And he snaps out of the psychosis. And he's like, no, I want to go home. I want to go home. And I got to say, the acting is phenomenal.
Oh, it's so hard.
You feel for the guy.
Yeah.
There's other moments you're pissed off at him because he's like, you're like, dude, you got your rescue. Just deal with it for 2 days. And the acting is brilliant. It's an amazing episode. Again, I give it a 9, but I'm chipping off a half a point for that production issue I mentioned. I think this is the longest review we've ever done.
Well, it's also a long episode, so.
That is true. It's a good long episode.
Yes, yeah.
Most of our season 4s will not be more than 10 minutes.
Agreed. Definitely watch this one. Take an hour to watch it. It is one of the top.
He's Brooks. That's where the face looked familiar from.
It's definitely one of the top 3 season 4 episodes, if not number 1.
Man, every program we've seen with him,
really
out of the
tragic.
2, somebody hangs themselves.
Yeah, really tragic.
But anyway, we love you guys. Hope you enjoyed. And take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll be back with Miniature sometime.
Yeah.
We're going to probably record the review tomorrow and post it on Monday or Tuesday. And that's another season 4. And then we'll, I think Talkie Tina might be coming up next weekend.
Oh, I love her.
Later, guys. Peace.
Bye.